Hey everyone, welcome to this week's video. So this week I'm going to show you how I prep for every newborn session, and this applies to any sitter session or family session, but in specifically newborn session, because I know a lot of you get mixed up of what to do, how to prepare, how to choose colors, how to choose setups before your client arrives. And this is the best way to do, so it creates less overwhelm, less confusion for you and for your client. And so when clients come in, they don't get overwhelmed by all the props and the setups that you have, and so they don't have to sit and pick and choose. That will make their life difficult because they're not sure what goes with what, and it will make your decision difficult to be put on the spot and actually set up while they're there. So I like to set up before the client arrives based on what information they've provided me, and I'm going to go through all of that in this week's video. So when a client books, I like to ask them specific questions, and we have a series of emails that we send to our clients. So my assistant May sends them a series of emails. One includes their contract, their questionnaire, and obviously a session guide as well. So with the questionnaire, I like to ask specific, straight to the point questions like what colors they like, what colors they want me to avoid, what props they've seen me use before they like, and I also ask them to send me screenshots or images of my social media or website that they might want me to achieve, whether the same or something similar, because you'll find a lot of clients will come in or to their session and they'll flick through your page or someone else's page and say, I like this, I like that. So I always say to them, have that prepared, email it to us, and what we do is we add it to their file so we know, and it helps me prepare just on the day or before their session and the night before what I'm sort of going to shoot that for that particular session. And I like to ask specific questions like colors, props. Some people might say to me, I don't like purples, I don't like greens, I just want pink and neutrals. So that way, preparing for my session makes life so much easier. But I don't ask them specific setups they've seen me do. I've only asked them images because I like to change. I don't want to be creating the same image over and over again that I've created for a different client, because I want to be able to use those images as well. So I might use the same backdrop and prop, but I might change the colors a bit around. But that way it allows me to have an indication of what I'm trying to achieve. So as you can see here, I like to always have a beanbag setup. Now I use my Easy Frame and Posy. So with whatever setup you have, beanbag, this is just my setup, but whatever you do, it's good to always be prepared. And that's the main thing about what I'm trying to address in this video. So I like to have one setup. Now, not all the time I get beanbag shots. I love my props and my shots from a bird's eye view, so I like to put baby on flicati and a prop and shoot from the top. I'm not a big fan of the beanbag, and I don't shoot a lot because I find that with beanbags setup, baby needs to be much settled, sleeping maybe, and there's particular poses that are really lovely to do on a beanbag, but I just like to move quick through my session. I like to shoot babies when they're awake. And I don't fuss about putting them to sleep, but I always have it prepared and ready to go if I decide that I want to use it. So in this case, I have this set up in a yellow. I will have the wrap there, maybe the headband if it's a girl, a prop like a teddy bear, or everything ready to go. So when baby comes in, we can get started straight away, and I know where I'm going to start and with what, and everything is in place. So especially if you don't have an studio assistant, everything is reachable and you don't have to go and walk around your studio or your space trying to fiddle and find everything while the client is there. And that's just wasting your time, and not only your time, but your client's time as well. Okay, so like a second setup, what I would have is I will try and also, I should mention, I try and keep the colors based on what the client likes, but I try to keep them so they match, so they flow nicely together. Because if they were to order an album or a wall art set, you want to put those images side by side, and you don't want one black and then one red or hot pink or something like that. So they need to flow really evenly and they need to match. So always keep something like that in mind depending what you're trying to achieve. So another thing I would ask them, are you looking at ordering prints or albums? So when we create your images for you, they flow nicely together. So I make them think about ordering before, and then think about, this is why I want to know if they're thinking of ordering. So the images I'm creating for them flow nicely together if they have in mind to order a wall art set or an album. So I would go, say, from your pale yellow, pastel yellow to like a pastel purple there. This is on my flocati or on the floor, and then I've just put some nice felt hearts. I'm going to put around the baby, wrap the baby fully, and put the baby in the middle there. And I've also got some headbands I've got to wrap on the side there, just ready to go. So that's a second setup, and as you can see, one's there and one's there side by side. So it doesn't matter where you start, it's just a matter of getting things organized and ready to go. Okay, so the third setup I would have, and I like to stick at least to 3 setups. If I know they're going for my smallest package that I offer within 4 days of them inquiring, then I would only stick to 2, including the parents. But if I know that they're going for my larger packages, I would set up 3, including the parents, which would count as a 4 setup. Now, set up 3 just to be safe, because if baby doesn't settle, you always got a safe shot to go through. And my safe setup is always the flocati, which is why I've got my pink flocati there, all folded up, ready to go. So if baby isn't settled, I'll do a half wrap or a full wrap, pop my cushion under the flocati and put the baby in there. And I'll pop up some images like what I'm talking about on the screen for you to see. Then what my third, so that's always my safe shot, or just an extra shot if baby, say, doesn't want to be, isn't going well on the beanbag or on the floor. I've always got things set up. So I like to set up at least 3 to 4 and just choose 3 for my bigger packages, and then 2 including the parents for my smaller packages. So figure out a way what suits you, but the purpose, like I said, of this video is being prepared when everything is set up. You don't want to be shuffling through the amount of stuff and wraps and all that, or getting your client to choose when they don't know what goes with what or what you're trying to achieve. It's good to have everything set up so you have the option to move to and from different setups. So I have a backdrop that I use, and will have it rolled up ready in the side of my studio, ready to go. So I usually do backdrops, I try to use them towards the end, then I'll roll it out and then do what I need to do, pop a basket there, the baby in there as well. And I'll show you some footage of this actual session that I am setting up currently. So I have that ready, and that can be my third and final setup for the baby. Then I will have the parent shots as well, where I will take, of mum and dad with the newborn, then mum on her own, and then dad on his own, and any siblings I might do before or after the session. So when you're setting up for props, so in this case, I'm going to use the backdrop, but I need a prop on top to actually place the baby in there. So I would grab the bowl or the basket, whatever prop you're using, and I have everything set up in there, including, my cloth nappies, my towels for cushioning for baby's head. I'll pop them in there, the cushioning underneath, whatever it is I want to pop the baby on top of. So I'll have it all set up, ready to go. So when I'm moving the baby, I don't need to put baby aside or tell mum and dad to come hold the baby. I just move the baby from one to the other. So if I need to unwrap them, I'll unwrap them, wrap them again, pop them in the new setup and that. So that's all ready to go. I'll even grab the wrap that I want to use, fold it nicely, and just pop it in there. So now I've organized the prop, popped all the cushioning I need underneath, and ready to go. Now when I am moving from one setup to the other, I have my essentials basket that includes these cloth nappies, my baby shusha, wipes, anything that I need in there to help me pose and move the baby, or that I need as I'm going along. So having everything like this set up, so I will have this placed right on the floor here next to the backdrop, so that way I have my bean bag, my floor set up, my backdrop with the bowl, and the flocati there for an extra one if I wanted to, just because one setup isn't working. So hopefully that makes sense. Having everything side by side. If you have a small space and you're thinking, oh my God, I can't do this, I have a small space, I literally only use the corner of my studio. So one side of my studio, that's all I use. If you have one corner, that's all you need set up. And you know what? Everything is folded anyway when I work. I don't have the backdrop set up because I don't want people slipping and walking on things, especially if there's a sibling in the studio. So I like just the beanbag setup because obviously I can't move that all the time. The next setup, maybe the third setup, I'll have it packed away if it's a backdrop. So have everything folded, but everything set aside. And then once you're ready, while baby's feeding or changing, you can get the second setup ready to go so you can start shooting. So you don't need everything spread out, in other words. So hopefully this helps you get thinking about how you can set up your session before every client. Remember to ask them specific questions. It's really, really important. So if you have any questions, make sure you leave me a comment below. And remember, go download my newborn session guide because I go in depth on from the time you get an inquiry right up until the client leaves and what to do after they leave. So I talk about everything in between. So if you want to learn more, go and make sure to download it. It's totally free. And make sure you take a screenshot of once you've downloaded it and share it with me over on Instagram at Photography by Rochelle. So until then, guys, thank you all for watching the weekly videos. I'll catch you next time. Until next week, if you have any questions, leave them below and I'll catch you there. See you.